Oops. We're live. Oh. Well, that bell can only mean one thing. Either it's dinner time or that's Mr. Jason over there.
Oh, that's right, Mr. Craig. That is right. Guess what?
Chicken butt?
Yes, we're about to get inclined to make the first year fine with Bill Cline.
Slap it on the griddle and flip it over with a spatula.
For Rizzo.
Buckle up, it's the Insurance Dudes podcast.
Well, if it isn't Bill Cline.
Bill Cline.
BC.
I don't have all the fancy shit like you guys do.
You don't need it.
He comes out cussing.
Although I'm digging the hair bands. I'm digging the hairband back there. That's cool shit.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
here he
So,
is.
Bill, you're here.
I'm
You
here.
made it.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide when to go to the daggone hospital. Yeah.
Oh,
What's
no.
going on?
I woke up and my right eye is extremely double vision. Like I can't read half the screen. But it's just a stroke. It's okay. I
Well, then no big deal.
gotta sell some insurance, you know. I got life insurance. I got no kids, but I got life insurance.
Insurance
you're like
kind of
most-
makes me woozy sometimes.
If you're like most agents, you have a lot of life policies.
I can't buy anymore. Without full underwriting, and I was sandbagging it to this year. That way I get one this year.
Nice. So, Bill, take us back. What got you into the industry and what brought you up to this point?
But before that, when you were even younger, what concert did you go to?
Oh,
What was your first concert?
Well, I don't know about the first coolest concert.
No, the first one.
No. It's not
It's
supposed to
gotta
be
be
cool.
bad.
The
one.
first ever. It was a Christian one. I was a good church boy back then. I think it was like DC Talk or something back in the 90s.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Dude, that's
That's
another Christian band. That's so crazy.
somebody just said right before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I grew up in
Oh.
the Christian music scene, so.
Yeah,
Well,
DC. That was back in the Jesus Freak DC Talk days.
Yeah.
Yeah, back then.
I still like them. I still think they're good.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, okay. So to the insurance business, what brought you here? Because you were a process or no, you tell us what you were.
He listens so well. Yeah. Good thing he's married. I was prior military, and I got real used, of course, to helping people and such. And then got out of the military. I was used to making $1,400 a month, in the military, including food and everything they provided, of course. And I got out of the military. I'm like, well, this sucks. I want to make some money. Joined the car business. 13 years of. Let me mute this. 13 years of car business. Loved it. It was great. But now with the internet and things, the car business is not what it used to be. It's heck, you can order cars on an app now. So as far as selling cars, it isn't. I mean, customers have no loyalty to anything anymore. But and the margins just wasn't there anymore. So I've been courted by other companies, for years. And from now, I know it's the FSLs who need to make quotas of getting people just to get offices. It wasn't like my talent or anything. It wasn't, or any kind of skill. It was just, let's get some sucker to put up his life savings and do this. But
I don't know, though. I mean, it seems like there's been a lot of military, like if you have a military background, seems that you do really well with this model because it comes down to those habits and that structure.
Yeah,
it seems that way.
Well, I mean, and like you said, structure. I mean,
Yeah.
my guys, it took them a minute to learn, okay, at the end of the shift, we're going to fill out this paper, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. I've had a couple candidates that flaked out on me. Well, no one runs an office like you do. Good, because the ones you named off, they're not doing that great. So,
right.
Yeah. I got tired of the 12, 13-hour car business days, with 115 degrees on that pavement in August with, just 80 hours a week for no good reason. No, I'm over.
That's crazy. So,
I'd rather work my ass off for 18 years and then get out of this thing. So
there you go. With an asset.
Car lot.
That's awesome. So how long has it been? What year was that you started?
December 2018 was month one.
Nice.
So I actually made it 13 months. Woo!
13.
13.
What were the biggest lessons you learned over the last year?
Finances. Of course, this is my first ever like business. So budgeting, budgeting in particular. I had a lot of, I don't know if Craig told you about some of my pitfalls of opening. I had the stereotypical, all the staff, no call, no show the first week.
Right.
I've been through it, this past year. So having to adapt and overcome, as the internet, as the Army says, will claw from the depths of bankruptcy.
Well,
yep.
And I think, especially starting scratch, whether it's with this company or any company, the plan that you put in place and then what actually happens are two different things.
I like that cash flow model. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
That's
I mean, you put all this stuff together and everything looks great. And then you open and a lot of things won't work the way that you had anticipated. And, but time rolls on and the clock starts, and the clock is ticking on whatever kind of commissions you have or whatnot. And so what we try to tell everybody, and I mean, I just most recently opened a scratch also, and as did Jason, but is, if you want 3 staff, which in my opinion is way too few, then you better have 8 hired. If you want 8, you better have 16. And if you want 16, you better have 40, because guess what? You're going to end up where half of them don't show up, half of them quit, half of them realize, what the hell, this is the worst sales job I could ever possibly have. A lot of different things, know, and that's just the staffing part. Then there's technology, and then there's all kinds of other things that can go not as planned. So it is a struggle. And I think that, anybody who's listening, who's planning on opening soon, really needs to overplan. Shoot way beyond.
Yeah. I mean, this business is definitely Occam's razor at its finest. Whatever happened will happen. And it's, it's definitely just go with the flow. You just have to. There's just no other way around it. So budgeting was definitely my number one lesson I've had to learn. That's always the struggle with, trying to catch up to the curves after such an opening.
Yeah. But it is weird too, because it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know what I mean? Like, you wait to pull the trigger on some stuff to save money. But in the long run, you're losing a ton of money, because if you're going to invest anyways in it, you might as well go earlier so you can get the revenue coming in.
You have to have it to make it. You have to get it to have it to make it to have it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's where the beauty of the credit card comes in the beginning. Then you have 60 days from the day.
I'm trying to find a sugar mama myself. That's what I'm trying to do, right? I need to. I mean, I'm never getting married ever again. But if I find someone that might qualify for a sugar mama, it might happen.
Well, for all the insurance dudettes out there, Feltman has thrown down the gauntlet. He's looking for a sugar mama.
I have a motorcycle and a culinary arts degree. Come holler at me.
Yeah. So what kind of marketing have you been doing that you've seen as effective? What kind of things have you seen that didn't quite work out?
And I wish I would have been able to do some kind of time machine, time warp, whatever, to give myself this message of, just because they say in my regional thing was in Chicago. That was my 1 week regional thing. Just because in Chicago they said, follow your cash flow and spend this much per month, it'll spit out this much money like a vending machine. That's not going to happen. And so I wish I could record this message of, no, you don't really have to pay that much for internet lead. You really don't. No, you can flip them off and say, no, not going to spend that with you. I'm not doing it. So I spent so much in the beginning on the same name that's been recycled, as we know, 18,000 times. So the number one lesson I learned is, find, a couple, if you're doing of course you have to have multiple different baits in the water. You have to have multiple things to work on. So on the internet lead game, find a couple, good companies that have a really flexible return policy, and get the lowest price you possibly can. And if in like the regional matches that come up, through Allstate, like our region had a triple match come up where I put in $2,000 and they tripled it. So now I have a $6,000, Allstate Lead Marketplace thing just sitting there, and I'll have to spend one nickel in January. And it worked out because I converted one of my CSRs to sales. So now I can spend not as much to get the same thing. So number one lesson for me is, and live transfers in my region just didn't work, especially because you daggone established people bidding up the daggone things. Am I allowed to cuss? Am I allowed to say what I want to say? No, I don't know.
I think so.
It's the soldier in me. I want to say soldiers are linguists. You established people bidding up the stupid things to $150 a piece in my region. No, I'm not going to pay that. It's just
right.
$150 a live transfer.
That's what it was end of year. $150 a piece.
Wow.
Not doing it.
That's ludicrous.
That's the beauty of getting some sort of telemarketing system into place, because I think I'm at like $14 a transfer right now. I think that's around where Jason is probably.
Yeah, I have one.
Maybe less.
One in house too. Yeah. He's averaging 4 or 5 a day.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's the way to do it.
On age list and requotes, and and with Ricochet you have the recycled status or the no contact status. So I put him on the no contact after 21 days, the recycles, and the mailers. Here, call them, and let my salespeople worry about the new people, the new leads.
And you focus on double vision.
Say again?
Focus on your double vision.
Yeah, it looks like you have like 4 people on your chest.
He might.
I don't know what's going on with this thing. I don't know.
You gotta go to the.
Not enough vodka in my life. That's what it is.
You gotta go to the doctor, man.
Well, I'll sleep and I'm dead. It'll be okay.
There you go. Well, okay. So somebody starting off, what's the one thing that you would offer as advice to somebody who is jumping in to the business, and you're not allowed to say don't do it?
Oh no, I would do this again. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hire better, because just from my experience, I had 6 weeks to hire. That's all I had was 6 weeks. They were trying to push me to this December 1st opening. I told them from the jump I wanted it to be January. I had 6 weeks to find 4 with a license. Therefore, if they had a license and a pulse, they were hired. I mean, it's really how it came down to. I knew 3 of them had no sales bones in their body. I knew it, but they had a license and a pulse. Having more time to hire better, but it would have helped me so much. no, and the tools we have, like, using Indeed better. I was just using Facebook. Hey, who wants to sell something? Stuff. So I don't know. Craig has that great interview checklist where we actually turn down somebody and make them almost leave and cry, and then offer them a job if they try.
You got to make them cry.
That works. It works.
It works. It does.
Yeah.
It'll make you cry, because in sales, we there's no crying in insurance.
Hey, look, they're going to be making 200 dials a day, and 198 of them are going to be mean anyway. So they got to be able to handle it.
Have you seen the insurance meme, the dank insurance meme?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the greatest shit ever in there. That's great. But
I think I've shared a couple into our insurance dudes group.
oh yeah, dank insurance memes. It's fantastic.
Great. Yeah, you got to follow it. It's pretty sarcastic, but there's some good stuff.
Oh, it's great. Like there was one with Baby Yoda, and he's like, me hoping the prospect calls back, or the prospect said he'd call back, and he's like,
That's so funny.
That's awesome.
It's that or Scotch. I mean, or that during Scotch.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I think that when it comes to what we've talked about, leads and hiring, when it really comes, I mean, that is everything, right? It goes back to the whole hiring, training, motivating, and making it rain. Like, so you really, I think people underestimate each one of those. Like, you really need to invest in hiring, because that's everything, right? That's your sales force. So you need to invest more time, more money, get more granular with that, right? Don't just, like you said with the Facebook and stuff. I mean, when I first got into this, it was the same thing. I was not spending time on that. I was getting so caught up in a one sale, and I was doing that. Like, I was getting so caught up in these things that didn't propel the long-term vision. And as we keep talking to people, I mean, it's like, the hiring is a sale, and you got to sell. You got to go through all these leads, right? All these applicants, they're like leads. You got to sell them on why they should work for you. They got to sell you on why too. I mean, but still, it's like, but it's a game of, it's a numbers game, just like sales is. You got to get those numbers in, and invest in the leads. There's a lot to it. I think that people don't dig deep enough. I know I didn't. It took me a while before I was like, oh wait, I need to keep going deeper with this. Like, to your point, buying those expensive leads. It's like, well, I can't buy those expensive leads. So what can I do? I can generate that within the agency. I can figure out how to do that instead of paying somebody else to do it.
Well, I like it as almost like an apprenticeship into, before I spend X dollars per hour and a licensing course if I have to pay for that, and plus feeding you people to talk to every day that I'm spending $9 a name or whatever it is, and you're going to blow out 80% of them, if I'm lucky, or let's start out with, let's see how you sound on the phone. Let's see if you're coachable. Let's see, how much you can generate. Then, okay, sweet. Yeah. If you've gotten me 100 in a month, okay, I've paid you $500, for the transfers. Let's say 15 of them sold. Yeah, I paid you a little bit extra because they sold. But now I know, okay, look, you can fight. You can dig in the trench. You can beg, borrow, steal, whatever you got to do to get someone to stay on the phone long enough to get some information. Let's go. Okay, here's a $200 class. Here's this. Let's rock.
Sure.
By the way, when you're at your class, I need you to fill out 50 more of these quote forms. With your friends and your family and your LinkedIn contacts and your whatever. That way, in your first week, you're off and running, not to spend a nickel. And it's a higher contact close. So
there you go.
Getting there.
Knowledge nugget.
So what's just drop Just drop
That's a
it
nice
right there.
sleeve, man. What's on that sleeve right there?
There's a whole bunch of stuff. I got most of my tattoos before I was 21. So I was playing a lot of music at the time. And then I got most of them in one sitting. I got this whole sleeve done in one sitting when I was maybe 17. I knew a tattoo guy stayed at my house.
Good. It's not faded. It looks good.
Thanks. Well, it is a little faded in person, but I had to get it retouched up. Yeah, so I did a one sitting thing, and it just kind of bled all out, and it looked horrible.
I am pure. No tattoo.
You are needleless.
I'm not a fan of the needles.
I'm not anymore. Oh, it hurts.
I just have to get Craig hammered and get what's
I don't drink. Don't drink.
Or fine, get some water and we'll get some virgin
hammered on hydration.
And what was it? Water boy, get like Roy Orbison on his ass or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the Insurance Dudes podcast, like little icon, right? The faces. Yeah, that's what you got to do.
I'd be honored to be.
It'd be kind of weird to have Jason's face on my bed. I wonder what my wife would say about that one.
Hopefully she's not back there that much.
Yeah,
that's true.
Good point. Maybe that's a good place to end this thing.
That was awesome. That's so funny.
So Jason, how long have you been open?
The ECP has been open since October 1st, and then I took over an agency back November 1st, 2016. So 3 years.
What would be some advice? So this is my month 14, whatever this is, 13, 14, whatever it is. So going into this next 6 months, I have 2 salespeople. I have the one telemarketer who I'm trying to put up through. So with this month 14, and now I'm getting my renewals from that tragic opening. So I'm not really going to see much for another couple months. What is some advice for someone in my situation to help? Because money's tight on mid-tier. On mid-tier month 14, money's tight.
Yeah.
So what's some advice to I know I'm focusing more on ALR this year. I just didn't have time too much last year. So in this year, I'm focusing on it more, and I have a much better EFS than I did before. What's some advice to help kind of grow these next 6 months to a year?
The focus on the stuff that you can control. So I would probably take a deep dive into the numbers, like what. So you're on mid-tier, and then there's a top tier, right?
Yeah, mid-tier mid-tier month 14.
But you can get to top tier next month, right?
Man, it's
it starts
$100,000.
here.
It's $100,000 on 2 people. I'd love for that to happen. I'm sure their paychecks would too.
So this is what I would do. I would figure out, okay, so how much, if you need one more person to do that, how much would it cost to do that? I would figure out how much extra you'd be making at that point. Could you do a loan to get there? And would you be able to break even within a couple months? A few months of doing that? I'll say this.
That's part of the learning. That's part of the financial learning too, is like most, because I looked into it last year because I was still on top tier, and I had 5 salespeople at that point. And from the tragic opening, there was not much renewal there on month 6. And it was like, ooh, payroll's Friday. How am I going to do that? Kind of a situation. And I found out most banks won't give much until you have 1 year. They won't touch you, unless you want a 24% rate. That's just not going to happen. So Now that I have my 1 year in, then I have some options. I'm looking more for a line instead of a loan. That way the repayment's a little bit more flexible and just draw out what I need instead of the full loan. That's just some of the stuff I'm trying to learn.
Yeah, I would look into that, at least looking into numbers where if you hit that top tier, how much it would take, what's your close ratio on the leads that you have now. Honestly, training every day, phone calls, like how can we sell, 5,000 extra a person, hiring. I would probably keep hiring, because think about this. If you did find that rock star, you're like, dude, this guy's going to be amazing. Get him in there, get him on the phone. And if he can generate, like try to get him to pay for himself with generating calls or whatever. But if you find, like I would always, and this is the advice that I have not taken myself, because I always say, like, you always got to be hiring. Like there can never be a month that you're not hiring, because that's the vulnerability, right? That's the vulnerability with every agency. And I did that. I opened up the agency. We had a solid staff, and a couple of things have happened in the last month, and I could use like 1 or 2 more people. Well, what's the tail on that? The tail on that's at least, I would say, a month to find one person, at least, right? So that's a 1 month. Then it takes a month to train the person. So month 3, they're golden. But so it's kind of a ramp up process. So I would just, even if you can't afford it, I would be hiring no matter what.
Pipeline. They at least say, hey, I don't have an opening right now.
Don't even say that. Just interview them as if you do.
Yeah.
But when can I start?
Yep. I'm interviewing a whole bunch of people. We'll let you know if you do make it.
If you found a rock star, would you find a way to pay for him? I mean, there's a tail.
Now I can. Like now I have financial options where I can attempt to figure something out.
Yeah. So I would probably do that. I would, and then I would probably get more granular on the training. Mm-hmm. Like how often do you review calls and stuff like that? With a small team like that, you guys could probably, I would do meetings every day, review those calls, see if you can get a really high close ratio with what you have. And then that's where I'd probably start.
Yeah.
That's a good place. Thanks.
Yeah. What would you say, Craig?
Well, I was to his original question, which was focusing on the ALR or the retirement stuff and some sort of process for that. We actually, that's why I was jumping up and down, not because I have to, which I do, but I do. But one of the things that we've instituted is with agencies. You have agency Zoom, I'm sure, right? Yeah. Okay, so I've set up the follow-up process. So I can't remember. It's like a sequence that doesn't go out, but it goes out to your team. And so I just hired somebody who is just all her job is doing build-a-walls. Okay, so she gets a notification 7 days after the sale, and she's also working the renewal list. So renewal, cancellation, and 7 days after the sale. So what she does, she just did one today. She found somebody that has 80,000 at John Hancock. So, and it was, right, like we just started her, but she has she used to work for me before. But so she's super good at doing the build-a-wall. So, she called him. We have the checklist, and I think Tolga put it in there, all the different things like verify e-bill, drive-wise, all the different stuff. And, if you're a farmer, whatever, all the little sign-up things that you do so it's your checklist. So this is the catch-all to catch the issues. And then if there's any problems, thank them, tell them to do a Google review, all that kind of BS, warm them up. And then, hey, look, so I noticed that you have that they wrote you at 2550. How did they come to that number? So they're basically just redoing the build-a-wall, because a lot of times, my sales guys are at the ECP are just boom, 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 close them. And they're not necessarily diagnosing need the way that it should be, because that's not the design. But now we have somebody who sounds much more expertise and has a lot of experience, and she just slows it down. And now they're paying 150. She runs the numbers and she goes, you probably should be at 100, 300 based on the gap. And now she's also uncovered the 401k and all this other stuff. So like the one she did today that I was listening, I was sitting at her desk while she did it. And she's like, she moved them to 100, 300, but it's only an extra $15 a month. Well, now they've paid and they want to be here and they're willing to move $1,500 or $15 a month because it makes sense, right? She just spent a half hour and she's like, and they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And she uncovered the financial stuff, which now just got shot over to my EFS. He's going to follow up and have an appointment, and he already has the appointment. Like while Jason and I were talking earlier, sorry, Jason, I was texting my EFS, hey, she should have sent you the appointment. He said, yes, got it. So, the process, once that process is in place, it starts working. And especially when you're doing volume, like we're at 106 items now. Earlier, I told Jason we were at 100. Now we're at 106. But like that's a lot of no, but that's a lot of little referrals that are going to go to her that she's going to do the Build-A-Wall on.
Yeah, it's a nice catch. It's a nice catch-all too, where having someone,
the
my account and the DriveWise, she's like service plus.
Yeah,
she,
but that's her job.
From the customer service angle first of, hey, I'm just making sure everything's signed up. Okay, cool. Oh, by the way, and get in there. I like it. Yeah.
Well, and so I made, and just if anybody is thinking about doing something like that, we get a lot of people listening. So I made a deal with her on pay. So I said, it's a couple grand for your base pay plus $10 per Build-A-Wall. So I showed her, well, if you do 40 Build-A-Walls, 1 an hour, 40 a week, that's an extra $400 a week. So you're at $3,600 for the month, which isn't bad. And then I have each month, her pay is going down by $500, but the Build-A-Wall is going up. So next month it's $1,515 per Build-A-Wall. Then it's $1,020 per Build-A-Wall. And ultimately it's commission only, but $40 a Build-A-Wall. So she can make a shit ton of money. And if we're doing, if we're doing 200 Build-A-Walls a month, forget it.
You'll find
it's over.
We'll
find a ton, and so it's got to get back to those basics and a process and fundamentals. And it happens, it's moving the needle.
Mm-hmm.
Just a long answer. And now we're over.
And a process.
Yeah.
Like that's a great process. I know you got to go to the bathroom.
I'm surprised you don't have something in your office. You have the soundproofed studio office. I'm surprised you don't have.
This is soup. I don't know if I should.
We need him a chastity belt, like some sort of belt.
Stadium Buddy. There's a product called Stadium Buddy.
I eat and breathe insurance. I have a catheter. I can't spend any time off the phone. I need a catheter.
Well,
love it.
When I was in college, we had this. I didn't drink. I was a good church boy back then, and we had this party where it was when 140s of King Cobra. You know what King? You heard?
I remember King Cobra from high school.
Yeah. It was $1.06 after tax.
Yes.
For 40 of King Cobra. We had 100 of them in the bathtub, and they decided to have. Well, they called it toga just to have the toga word. But actually, it was a Depends party.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. That happened.
That's so funny.
We did it where we took the Cobras or the Mickeys or whatever 40 we were in particular, and we duct taped them to our hands. And you weren't allowed to get it removed until it was empty. So you had two 40s.
Yeah.
And, man, after 240s, you're in trouble.
Especially that crap.
Which is precisely why I don't drink anymore. So probably because of the duct tape 40s. So, Bill, we're going to let you get back to it. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the Insurance Dudes.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
And we'll check in with you year 2 or maybe throughout the year and see how you're doing.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll see you on that swanky trip to middle nowhere, Iowa or wherever we're going.
Yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
We'll see you, brother.
I see you, man.
Have a good one.
Bye. Yeah.
Hey, you've got to check out the Insurance Dudes Inner Circle coming soon, where you get extended interviews as well as live coffee talks in our private Facebook group. Join the mailing list today at theinsurancedudespodcast.com. Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.